Guys, so I told you I would do the book review for Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover. It took me a little bit longer to read than I expected, and that, as you can tell by all the little tabs here. Let me just start with overall, I give it 2 thumbs up for Dave Ramsey, at least for the Total Money Makeover. He has so many great ideas and concepts in it, and it's a simple strategy that takes an intense focus for you to be able to follow. But if you really want to get out of debt and you really want to be able to afford the things that you enjoy doing, and if you want to be able to have that retirement, the steps that he suggests are perfect for doing that. Now let me go ahead and get into some of the pros. I like that it's a call to change. He wants you to be all in, because it doesn't work if you're not all in. You know, you cannot change your money mindset if you just kind of do the things that you know that need to be done. If you do them for a week and then don't do them the next week, if you pay off your debts but are still using credit cards, it's just not going to work. So he has this call to change with a gazelle intensity. He calls it a gazelle intensity because the fact that a gazelle is always around and they can hear everything and see everything as they're doing each step. Now, the gazelle is very aware of what's going on, and they're very aware of the situation that they're in, and they're constantly focused on what they're doing. So if they're eating, they're focused on protecting themselves while they eat. If they're running from a predator, they're 100% focused on it, and they are not going to stop until they get away from that predator. So Dave says it typically takes about a year to 18 months for you to get out of that credit card debt and other miscellaneous debt. And then you can start using his steps to get all the way through to the final step, which is paying off your mortgage and living like no one else. And he says altogether, if you are really intense and focused on it, it should take about 7 years. The baby steps that he uses, I'll go over those here in a little bit, but some of the cons to what he suggests, one thing is he often uses the term stupid or dumb. You know, this is a personal issue for me. I don't think in order to have that realization of what you're doing is not right, or having the realization that you're spending your money the wrong way, I don't think it requires you to be called stupid or dumb. But he's kind of like, I call it like I see it. So that's just a personal thing with me. I think that in order to keep from being called these terms, I fell into the American way of debt, especially school debt. I thought that was the smart way to do things. How do I get ahead in life? Well, you get ahead in life by going to college, getting married, having your white picket fence. And there's nothing wrong with those, but the debt that it's put you into to get there is this hole and these chains that weigh you down for the rest of your life. If you're paying student debt from the moment you leave college until you're almost retired, what's the point? So using his, did you guys see that butterfly? Using his steps can help you reduce that. Like I said, I don't think that the word stupid and dumb really needs to be used. The other thing that he suggests is the cash envelopes for paying debt. He suggests that you have an envelope for each debt, and that's what you're paying on. You put the cash in there and you don't touch it until you have enough to pay. Or you put your cash into your envelope and that's what you use at the beginning of the month to pay off bill and that debt. Now, this may work for some people, but coming from the restaurant industry, I had about 4 or 5 years in the restaurant industry. Brad's entire career was in the restaurant industry. He was there for like 27 years. So having that cash in hand or that cash laying around the house doesn't necessarily work for everyone. I think that goes back to the previous video that I used, saying that you can have a different bank account, and that one bank account, the only thing it's for is to pay whatever your bills and whatever debt it is that you're working on at the time. It comes out of that, and nothing else is used for that account. So that's going to work better for us. So the cash envelope system doesn't always work for everyone, and I do want to throw that out. He says that anyone can do this, and yes, you can, but having a different mentality about cash leaving your hands isn't the same for everyone. For people that are in the cash tip business, you always have cash in hand. So it's always going to be there. It's the norm. So having a place where you can deposit that cash so it's not in your hands, so you won't spend it on something else, that tends to work better, I think, for people that have the cash in hand jobs. All right, so getting into the baby steps real quick from this book, The Total Money Makeover, does not go into detail completely about the baby steps in the cash and the envelopes. But it does give an overview of everything. So baby step 1 is the emergency fund. You have to have $1,000 emergency fund. I completely agree with this, because if you're trying to pay off your debt and then all of a sudden your battery goes out on your car and you can't get to work, what are you going to do? You're going to use that credit card that you just started paying off to go get a battery. So he suggests saving up that $1,000 for whatever emergency it is that you might find yourself in while you're trying to pay off your debt. So the first step, get that $1,000 stashed away so that you can start paying off your debt. And then step number 2 is to pay your credit cards and miscellaneous debt. And this starts with the smallest amount, and then you create like a snowball effect. So you take that small amount and you say it's a $30 medical bill that you had for an x-ray or something like that. So that $30 bill, you're going to pay that off. That's your very first one. And he suggests you make a list of all your debts and you put them in order of the largest to the smallest. So you pay off that first one. And then the next month, that you take that $30 and you start paying off the bigger one. And you pay that one off until it's completely paid off. And then you take that extra money and you go down to the next one until all of your debts are done. Again, he said that takes 12 to 18 months, depending on your average debt that you have. So I believe I previously stated that the typical American has between $15,000 and $20,000 in credit card debt. Well, he's also talking about the fact that this paying off the debts will include your car. So he is very, very avid on, if you cannot afford your car payment, if your car payment is over a certain percentage of your income, you should sell that car, get a car that's a few years older. He's not saying go out and get a junker or lemon that's going to break down on you every couple of weeks. There's no reason to add extra stress. But you don't need that car with all the extra bells and whistles and the heated seats and the sunroof and the flashy wheels. You don't need that. He's saying sell that car, get a car that's reliable and older, paid in cash, so that you have that debt off. And I think that's a great idea. It's really hard to do. Brad and I had secondhand cars. We probably went through about 17 of them before we got our new car, which was still a year old. In 2013, it was a 2012, but it had really low miles. We still couldn't afford it, and it was such a blessing that it's now completely paid off. But having that vehicle now that's paid off, we do everything we can, and to keep it maintained, to keep it running smoothly, getting new batteries, getting new tires, doing the oil change on time. Just not having that car debt on there was huge. So he suggests, if you have a car that is way too expensive and it has all the bells and whistles, why are you doing that to yourself? That could be money that you were paying down. He said about 90% of the time when someone calls in and they have debt and they have a car, he asks them, how much is the car costing you compared to how much you make per year? You know, if it's too much, then it just needs to go. There's no point in having this super nice vehicle that you can't afford. All right, so step number 3, finish your emergency fund. So after you get your credit cards paid off, after you get your miscellaneous bills paid off, after you either get rid of your car or pay your car off, then you need to finish your emergency fund. And that is 3 to 6 months of bills. You know, you don't have that car payment anymore. So this is going to be your insurance, your mortgage, your grocery bill, your gas, your water, electric, phone, all these things have 3 to 6 months saved up. And the reason he suggests that is because the future is not known. There may be a time in your life where you get sick, your family member gets sick. You know, Brad and I really went through this when he had his cancer treatments. I had been sick previously with Lyme disease, so I had already taken all my time paid off. I was taking time without pay. They were holding my job, but I didn't have a paycheck coming in. If we had had that emergency fund with 3 to 6 months of bills already paid, we would not have had to rely on the grace of our family members to help us out and our friends. You know, Brad's father had helped with the mortgage. My grandmother had helped with the mortgage. You know, we eventually sold the house so it wouldn't go into foreclosure, but had we had that 3 to 6 months saved up, we would have been able to cover those and then make the decision to sell the house if that is what we wanted to do. Then step number 4 for Dave Ramsey is retirement investing. So he suggests matching your 401k and then doing mutual funds to have up to 15% of your income. Now, he doesn't suggest doing this until the other 3 are done, because there's no point in saving for the future if you're currently in debt. You know, he doesn't say to stop investing with your 401k at your work. He says continue doing that, even at step 1, all the way up to what they match at work, if that's something you're able to afford. But don't add more into your retirement. Don't add that 15% of your income until you're completely out of debt, because you want to get those paid off before you start investing in your future. Step number 5 is save for the kids' college fund. This is something that is on Brad and I's mind. You know, if Sophia goes to college here in 8 years, then will she be able to go, or will she have the debt that we have? Well, I can tell you right now, we're going to do everything in our power for her not to get student debts. And Dave Ramsey suggests that at all costs, do not get student debts. Don't get the student loans. And the reason for that is because even though the interest is low, this is a debt that you'll be paying on, like I said, for years to come. And there are ways to go to college without getting into debt. You can do the student work program. You can still live at home and go to college. You can find a school. Instead of having that big name school that you want to go to, find a smaller school to go to. Find the scholarships. You know, not all scholarships are academic. So he's got a lot of suggestions in here that you can look at, and you can go out to the website and look at those too. So whatever you do, don't get student loans and help your kids save for college. And if you're not able to do this step, then there are other ways to go around it. So number 5, save for kids' college. Number 6, pay off your mortgage. Now, if you would have told me this 8 years ago, well, I guess we had our house 5 years ago. If you would have told me 5 years ago that in 7 years I could have my house paid off, I would have laughed at you. But I didn't have the knowledge that I have now, and I didn't have the intense focus that I have now to live a life free of debt. We were living in the moment. We were spending beyond our means, and debt was just a normal part of life. But it's not, and it's not supposed to be that way, and the Bible says that it's not supposed to be that way. Those are the chains that are holding us to other people. So number 6, pay off the home mortgage, and number 7 is to build wealth. Now, this is a long-term focus. This is after the 7 years of paying off all of your debts. You know, some people may take more. It may take 10. It may take 12. But he's saying even people that are making $40,000 a year should be able to do this. It all depends on you and the choices that you're making. So at that end, after you have your mortgage payment paid off, then you can start buying things that you never thought you could afford before. You know, you can go and have those $150 dinners. You can go and buy yourself the nice new vehicle, as long as you're paying cash for it. As long as you are, you have built it up to be able to do those things. Now, the building wealth section in number 7 has a lot more to do with the fact that you're going to be investing beyond just your retirement. You're going to be learning more about and surrounding yourself with people who are knowledgeable in the investment industry. And one thing that he does suggest also is that if you are surrounding yourself with people that are helping you with your financial situation, and they are saying, hey, do this because I said so, then they're not really on your team. They are there to make money off of you. And I completely agree with that. If someone is not taking the time to explain how this is going to benefit you and how it fits into your overall plan of financial freedom, then they're really just there to sell you something or get you to buy something. It's not wrong to pay someone a commission for your investments, but you have to make sure that their integrity is intact. You don't want someone that's just going to be there to sell you the highest plan at the highest commission that they can get. You want someone that's there that's going to work with you, help you figure out what's best for you and your lifestyle, what you can really afford, what you're really looking at. You know, some people want to have this death benefit that when they pass away, it leaves enough for their children and their grandchildren to go ahead and start their own lives, to buy that car in cash, or to pay off their mortgage, or to start investing. You know, there are people that just want that, but then there are other people who their goal for this long-term wealth is for them to be able to have the money to be taken care of in their older years. You know, yes, they'd like to leave a little bit to their children and their children's children, just like it says in the Bible, but do you have that long-term care plan in place to where you can pay someone, or you can pay a family member who has to quit their job in order to be able to take care of you? So these are all things that are important that we need to consider. And when you're in the first baby step, these are what you're working towards. You're working towards this end goal. You're working towards this life of abundance. And I really like how Dave Ramsey ends his book as well, and he talks about giving, how having fun with money, investing, and building wealth are important, but the best part of it is being able to give, because that never loses its excitement. It never loses that gladness that it brings to you and the joy it brings to other people. And it's really important that giving starts all the way right now, today. What can you give? And if you don't have the money to give because you have this intense focus on paying off your debts, then give your time. Find somewhere to volunteer, whether it be in your church, whether it be in a soup kitchen, whether it be putting together blankets and clothing and personal hygiene items to homeless, or whether it just be going out into your local community and holding a Bible study, or having a car wash for elderly. Whatever it is, whatever God places on your heart, just do it. Start this giving of yourself, because I tell you what, once you start doing that, it brings that joy to your life, whether you have money or not. It's going to bring that happiness and that feeling of being able to do something for your neighbor. And Dave Ramsey kind of touches on that in his book. All right, so that was a long overview, but there's a couple things in here that I have marked that I do want to point out to you. The first one is going to be his grandmother's quote, because this is great. His grandmother used to say, "Those convicted against their will are of the same opinion still." So if you are doing this and trying to have this debt-free life because your spouse is making you do it, or because your parents are making you do it, or whatever the reason is, if your heart is not in the right place, it's not going to work. And I really suggest you get down on your knees and give this debt over to the Lord, and you say with all your might, "Lord, this is above me. I need your help. I need your guidance. I need your wisdom. I need your strength." He's there. He's listening. He knows what you need before you ask. He enjoys hearing from you. So giving it over and being wholeheartedly into being debt-free will allow you the strength that you need to carry on when you have to stop doing the things that you think bring you enjoyment, such as for Brad and I, it was going out to dinner, or I'm not saying you have to completely stop those, but you have to control them. You have to do them within your budget, make sure you're paying your debts, and still be able to enjoy life. There are so many free things out there that you can do to replace the things that are costing a ton of money for you to do them. And as you start paying off your debts, and as you start paying for things in cash, you are going to be able to enjoy the bigger, brighter things, such as, whatever it is that you want to do. If you want to go jump out of an airplane one day, that's possible. But if you have that intense focus to get out of debt, going and paying $200 to jump out of an airplane just isn't in your budget right now. That $200 can go towards your credit card, so that in the future, in a year and a half, you can pay for that in cash. All right, so again, it's all about sacrifice and what you're willing to do now so that you can do more later. But that doesn't mean that you can't go out and climb a high, tall mountain. That doesn't mean that you can't take an hour drive to a park and enjoy walking around a park. If you enjoy being nature and you want to see God's planet, do it. I highly recommend it. I highly recommend doing the things that are free or very low cost so that you can still enjoy life. I'm not telling you to never go out to dinner with your friends again. I'm saying pick and choose your times. Don't do it every week unless you have your debts paid off. That doesn't mean stop having dinner with them. That means instead maybe have dinner at your house, grill out, tell everyone to bring a side dish and you'll get the meat and have everyone over. We can, if you focus on the things that you can do instead of the things you can't, you're going to find yourself enjoying life a lot more. All right, another thing that he says in here, let's see Grandma's quotes. Dave Ramsey says that it is 80% behavior and 20% knowledge. Again, I completely agree. Like I was just talking about your mindset with enjoying life. You can enjoy life without having an abundance of money. You just have to choose to do it. So it is 80% in your mind and 20% knowledge that you can gain from reading books like this or watching videos like this. Whatever it is that God places on your heart, find that counsel, find the people that can help you, find other like-minded people, go out to Facebook communities and join a community of those that are doing the same things that you are doing so that you can find those suggestions for enjoying life without spending a ton of money and going into debt. It is all mindset. All right, let's pick out something else here. All right, bear with me. There's so much. One of the myths that he busts in his book is that debt consolidation is bad. He's saying that debt consolidation, the myth is that debt consolidation saves interest and you have one smaller payment, but it's dangerous because you're only treating the symptom. And I agree with that to a point. I think sometimes our debt consolidation, when we are feeling extremely overwhelmed and we don't know where to begin, speak with someone that has knowledge on the debt consolidation so that you can see if it's really going to work for you and if it's really going to help you in some way to reduce your debt. Brad and I did do debt consolidation. When we were trying to get rid of our credit cards, we went to our credit union and they had a debt consolidation. We had medical bills, we had the credit card debt, we had just miscellaneous bills here and there. I think there was a phone bill on there from when I was 18. There was an apartment bill on there from when Brad was real young too. So we just consolidated these and made one payment and they paid those off for us. Now, not all debt consolidation programs are the same. Some of them can cause your credit score to go down. So you just really need to look at it. What's the trade-off for you? Is it really going to help you? And I believe that some of them are. If it wasn't for that debt consolidation, I didn't have the knowledge that I have now. So if it wasn't for that debt consolidation, we would still have our credit card debt. You need to find what works for you. So just know that there is a trade-off, but it works. If you feel that there is nothing else, if you feel too overwhelmed and you're not able to do the list of debts and paying off your own debt yourself, looking into debt consolidation is something I suggest. All right. I got a leaf here. All right. So another thing. He does say that mobile homes, RVs, things like that are a complete waste of money. So he says that the myth is that mobile homes or trailers will allow me to own something instead of renting, and that will help me to become wealthy. The truth, the trailers go down in value rapidly, making your chances for wealth building less than if you had just rented. Now, to me, again, this seems like the trade-off. Brad and I, we did not purchase the RV to build wealth. We did not purchase the RV to help us gain a foothold in the financial world. We purchased the RV first because it allowed us to travel. Second, because it was ours. We knew it would go down in value as soon as we purchased it, just like a car goes down in value. But our RV is our home. So if you are using the RV as a home, I think that it's a different situation. Because to me, when you're renting something, you can't just go paint the walls. You can't move it to where you want it to be. You can't make it your own outside of, just putting pictures up and decorating the way you want to. So having a mobile home or a trailer allows you to own that with the knowledge that, yes, it may go down in value. But to me, that trade-off is worth it. To my family, that trade-off is worth it. So you have to figure out what the trade-off is for you. It's renting, you're paying someone else to live there. Having the mobile home, having the RV allows us to own it, make it our own. We tore out the dinette, we put in a workstation there, we built in some storage under Sophia's bunk bed. It's our own. We can do whatever we want with it when we wish. And so that's the trade-off with renting. Just go into it knowing the same as renting is, that's money that you're giving someone else. The same with a mobile home. You may be losing money, but you own it. All right. Let's see. Yeah, here's a great quote. John Maxwell has a quote about budgeting. And he says, a budget is telling people, is people telling their money where to go instead of wondering where it went. So he says, a budget is when you tell your money where to go instead of opening your account and being like, where did all my money go? So having it planned out, having that focus on what you want your money to do, instead of at the end of the month going, oh, well, I still have a bill left. Where did all my money go? You already know exactly how much your groceries cost you that month, how much you set aside for your gas for your vehicle, how much you're paying towards your debt. So when you open that bank app at the end of the month, even if it's reading down in the super low numbers, you know where it went. And you know how it was spent. And you know that you're working towards your future. Again, that's the mental mindset and how you're thinking about things. All right, and then I'll just pick out one more thing that I haven't touched on. Oh, okay. Here's something important to remember too, is that even if you're only making $40,000 a year, most people, that's the low end of income. Most people have over $2 million that pass through their hands in their lifetime. And that $2 million just passes right through and goes on. Having a mental mindset and an understanding of where it went gives you a greater a feeling of accomplishment towards the end of your life, especially if you have invested and saved up. It allows you that peace of mind knowing that you were able to grab some of it and save some of it. And that's something that Brad and I have never had before, and that's what we're working towards, and we'd love to work with you guys in doing that as well. So if you have any questions, if you want to go on this journey with us, if you want more suggestions, just reach out, comment, share, like, send us a message. And keep yourself knowledgeable. It is still 20%. 80% is in the mind, but you still need the knowledge to be able to make the choices. All right. That's all I have today. Love you guys. See you soon.